Welcome to Let's Talk Retail, the podcast where we explore the latest trends, challenges, and innovations in the retail industry. Today, our guest is Agnes Raja, the founder of Pippin Fashions. Pippin Fashions, of course, is known for the brand Dimoza. We will be talking to him about the future of e-commerce and brick-and-mortar stores, and that's a topic for our episode today. If you realize the retail landscape is continuing to evolve, and understanding the symbiotic relationship between online and offline channels is crucial. In our conversation with Agnes, we will get him to share his perspective on how businesses can navigate this dynamic environment and what the future holds for both e-commerce and traditional retail stores. So let's join Agnes and listen to what he has to share. Thank you so much for joining us on Let's Talk Retail.
Thank you.
And hopefully, in this podcast, we'll try and get a lot more insights into the entire retail vertical and basically your perspective. And rightly so, the future of e-commerce and brick-and-mortar stores.
Yeah.
A lot of discussion happening around that. So before we get into the topic and I'll get you to speak on that, just want to ask you to walk us through your journey in retail.
So I actually started my retail way back in 2000. So that's when organized retail was just starting. Just after college, I started my career. I did my graduation in commerce. After that, I was looking for a career. I was keen on getting into a career in sales and marketing. So that's the most rewarding career way back in 2000. It's mostly industrial sales. Of course, before getting into retail, I also tried a couple of my sales with credit card companies and one of corporate training institute, but that could not really give me the action which I was looking for. So
Right.
first I joined in 2000 Landmark Group, Lifestyle's first store. Lifestyle India opened first store in 1999. So they opened in September 1999. I joined in just after 1 year of their anniversary. That's how I started my career. I joined as a sales staff. 2 years, 11 months into sales, then I got promoted into a store in charge, store manager. So 2 years I spent in store. So way back then it is just two stores. It's mostly managed by how the current MBOs were running. The store manager has to place the purchase order to the vendor. That's how I managing purchase, trade, a lot of things. Then when Lifestyle started expanding, 2003 onward, they have started signed up stores in Bangalore, Gurgaon. They said we have to move a proper buying merchandising team. So I moved to the back office along with the buying team. That's how I moved to back office team. So I was handling buying and merchandising for about 6 years with Lifestyle. Then I got a 2 year short break with Tesco UK for their new business acquisition knowledge transfer. So it was more of a functional consultant role where we have to go understand Tesco best practice and implement Tesco's best practice other countries. So Tesco by then had acquired Samsung retail of Korea. They had Lotus Thailand. They had ventured in Thailand, China. They were also ventured in a couple of European countries, and they are also putting their footprint in US. So they need a strong techno-functional people to understand retail and also understand part of system. So I got trained in technical aspect of it. So I were to post in Czech Republic on a 2 year contract. That's when the 2007 global slowdown started hitting. So they kept the project on hold. So I was always running in retail. I never used to have the concept of bench. In IT, there is a bench concept. So I was in 3 months. That did not go very well. Then I got an opportunity to join ABFRL, started their first multi-panel department store business collective. I joined part of their founding team. So we had a very ambitious plan. I was instrumental in getting the entire planning process, supply chain activity for the business. So we had an ambitious plan of 100 stores in 5 years. That's a plan then. So first September 2008, we opened the store. The 8th of September, when the day we are cutting the ribbon, that day Lehman Brothers collapse happened. So you all know. So the entire market went on little tough because the luxury, super luxury was today is quite common. So in 8, if you see a single store having brands like Versace, Hugo Boss, Armani, Diesel under one single roof. Way back then, we were selling at denim for 20,000 rupees. Even today, Diesel sells at the same price because that time we have to import, so there are a lot of cost. So that model become little slow with Aditya Birla. So again, so it was not going very good. Then I again got a call back from Lifestyle. They were setting up, strengthening the private label business. So till then, they were largely a brand business. They were buying brands and then they do a little bit of private label, more of a category play. So they want to strategize the entire private label business. So join back in Lifestyle to head the entire private label for menswear. So I set up the entire, launched the entire private label. So but I was there for 5 years. Then I got a break with Pantaloons when Future Group was sold the Pantaloon business to ABFRL. So again, I moved back to ABFRL. I was with them for 4 years. Then I realized, okay, this is the time my corporate life is enough. Let me start my own. So I looked at my opportunity category because I've done entire gamut of retail, understand retail planning, supply chain. I identified there is opportunity in women's wear. So women's wear is, while there is opportunity, there is also a risk in terms of high fashion risk of failing category inventory that leads to a lot of cash. So we did a research and we found there is an opportunity to do a women's bottom wear, which is largely ignored by large brands because most of the brands coming from menswear background, they focus on shirts, two shirts, one bottom. It's the same way even women's wear brands are also focusing, but women's were buying the top and going to somewhere else and doing the matching their bottoms. That's how we saw an opportunity. Parallelly, we also saw GoColors started and doing very well. So, we've started research in 2014, 15. By then, GoColors started their first round of funding. There was a lot of traction on the category play. So that's how we entered into demos as a women's basic legging. Then as of now, we scaled up to not just basics. We do all kind of bottom, which are in trend, which also includes basics. We do a lot of fashion bottom like culottes, plazos, harem pants, cigarette pants, anything in women's bottom which are in fashion trendy, we do. So we are currently operate out of 40 exclusive stores. We have close to 300 shop and shop. We have e-commerce and we also have distribution, multi-brand retail. So that's a journey which I am driving so far.
I know, very interesting to know. Obviously, yes, you listed down some of the reasons why you started Demoza, but very interesting category. So what in that 2014 when retail was just about kind of getting into that space where e-commerce was just coming in, what made you take that decision to say I'll start on my own?
See, I always had my childhood dream. I should have my own, I used to read a lot. So all the autobiography of successful people, they all come from a humble beginning and they all become by innovating certain product or launching new business models. So that's the idea. I want to learn as much in my career, then I want to start my own business. So it's my childhood dream that I got an opportunity to start something slow with my co-founder and a few other investors who are ready to help me with the idea. That's how I got into entrepreneurial journey.
So why this category? You had experience in menswear, you had experience in denims, you had experience in private labels with lifestyle. Obviously, you had seen other categories as well. But why this one?
See, the reason is when you looked at large departmental play, that we have studied a lot of data, so we do a lot of research. See, even lifestyle, menswear is 80% brand driven, even way back then. So there are plenty of brands. If you look at House of Madura, from premium to say value fashion to high premium, they have brands. All the big corporates already taken that market share. Apart from that, a lot of other retailers also started playing in that area. There are a lot of regional players like from Turtle in East, Twill in AP. Plenty of brands available in the market. While in women's wear, the private label plays only about, brand plays about 30-40%. 60% is largely private label. That's in a large department. So the number of brands available for women's was quite less. And also India, what happened was a lot of brands, while a lot of Indian brands were focused on launching Western wear category, the traditional Indian mix and match, ethnic, kurta, pajama, customers were plenty. So the biggest business for MBOs, Tier 2, Tier 3 were ethnic driven business. If I say, dress material, kurtas and traditional wear. In that segment, hardly any brand. So they had only W, we had only Viva. Other than that, there is no brand in the market. And they were also focusing primarily on top wear because they used to sell tons and tons of tops because the areas way back then brands had very conservative in terms of taking real estate space. So they opened a 1,200 square feet space also is very big for them. So when women's ethnic wear, when you go at that space, they will not be able to display too many of variety because you have to display every product in hanging. So it takes a lot of space. They focused largely on top wear. They completely ignored the bottom wear category. And also there was a price to space was very high because bottom wear sells at about 500, 600 a legging. Where same place, if I could have given a top, I could have still sold at 1,000, 1,200 rupees. That's a thought process brands were having. Even that's what the opportunity, even in department store, the bottom, whereas a category department used to sell very well in lifestyle and pantaloons. Because people used to buy other brand top, then come and match the bottom fit. Yeah.
Right.
That's what is kind of gave me the confidence. Okay, this is a category. This is very easy to do, not too much. If we can crack the supply chain of having good variety of colors without impacting a lot of working capital, this is the model should go for. So that's how we got into bottom wear category.
I know now you're dealing with literally 4 touch points: your own eBay, your own e-commerce site, your own marketplace, your own MBOs. How are you managing the dynamics of all these 4 channels?
See, since our background is largely LFS and organized retail experience, when we started the brand, the first model what we adopted was a kiosk. We had opened our first kiosk format. Then parallelly, we also launched in marketplaces. So Myntra and Jabang was actually on a very high traction, acquiring new brands. So 2015-16, when we launched the brand, we had our EBO and e-commerce marketplace. Slowly, then we moved on to LFS because we want to grow the business. Since we are from the background, we know what is the gap in the product. Then accordingly, we launched the category and then approached LFS partners. Center was the first one to launch Demosa in departmental store. Then we also got into some hyper stores like Total was a hyper store where we launched. And then later on, we added Ethnicity, we added Lifestyle, Shopper Stop. Then we went to complete because we identified as and when we launch any new channel, we understand what is the product gap, what is the opportunity there. We tweak product offering according so that it gives you the edge over competition to enter to the new market. So that's how we started our multi-channel journey.
You've kind of seen all these 4 touch points. How do you see the current state of e-commerce compared to brick and mortar stores?
See, according to my experience, it's primarily another channel. So I've seen e-commerce way back in 2006-7 when I was in Tesco. I would say Tesco was the first one to operate pure play omni-channel retail. The dark store concept, what we are seeing today, which is about 18 years, I'm seeing quick commerce. Tesco was implemented. Now I was part of the pilot. I was part of the team where orders used to come. There is no mobile app. There is no applications. Only website order. People placed order on website. There is a .com. We used to call .com business. .com team comes to the stores at 6 o'clock and do the picking from where live customers shop and then get it delivered in 4 to 6 hours. So that's how omni-channel started. Even way back then, they were also idea that e-commerce will come, boom will be there, but it'll stabilize to a different format. See, I'm sure you've seen retail last 20, 25 years. In 2007 to 12, when malls were booming in India, everybody was thinking high streets will die, malls will take over, should brands look at only malls or high street? But after some time, what happens is when the customer experience has few service level and also based on the proximity, that channel kind of stagnates. So then there are customers who even today people want to go and buy high street or neighborhood mall, the neighborhood streets, or they go to mall depending on the occasion. So similarly, e-commerce will play as another channel. See, if you look at our business, e-commerce today is about 15% of our overall retail.
That's quite good, huh?
That's because our offline footprint is not really large. If you look at large offline retailer, the e-commerce is some 10%. Even if you look at department store, lifestyle, or even ABFRL brands, they're large brands because their distribution is very vast and wide. So this will become, long run, it may become if the industry matures and become more stable. Unlike even more stable economy like US and Europe, e-commerce is about 20, maximum 20% for omni-channel retail. That's the reason even a lot of e-commerce players also getting into omni-channel retail, opening offline stores because there are certain logistics and cost of running a retail channel. So when we were running high street store versus small, when we used to do what is the cost to OPEX analysis, now the same thing is applicable for running an e-commerce site versus an offline store. There is a cost, there is a customer acquisition cost, which is fairly larger in e-commerce. So when the brand matures, so they will try to optimize that through a physical brick and mortar store. In my opinion, my experience, what I see, both the channels will coexist for a long-term sustainable business for any business.
I was just come to the question that you kind of built into it is what are the trends that will drive both of these channels?
See, the trend is going to be both the channels going to grow strongly. Of course, offline, the growth, aggressive growth on e-commerce is now slowing down because you need to really pump in a lot of money to buy customers. So the customer acquisition cost is a lot higher when it comes to e-commerce. I see brands diverting that investment to bringing in opening stores so that they can optimize on branding and customer brand awareness, visibility, and also improve on customer service. How can they deliver much faster? If I'm I'm a brand from Bangalore, if I want to service a customer to Delhi, typically takes 3 to 4 days. If at the same time, if I have a store in Delhi, if I can service from that, I can deliver it within 2 days max. If
Right.
it is, it can be next day. So this kind of service level will help the brands to optimize their investment. So if I have to run a 100 crore business, I have to spend minimum 30 crores as a marketing cost in e-commerce to sustain e-commerce
High,
business.
is it? So
Yes,
high. Yeah.
yes, 30% cost goes into your customer acquisition cost.
Okay.
But you are from offline business, so if offline, if you put a 30 crore business and open a 100 crore business, to sustain a 100 crore every year, you're only OPEX of 10, 15 crores.
Good.
So that other 15 crores will become your profit. Then with that, you can add another store. So that maths is really understood by a lot of e-commerce players because initially, of course, there is a pros and cons of starting a brick and mortar and only e-commerce. Only e-commerce is if you have an idea, I want to test a product, even at a 10, 20 lakh rupees, you can start a product you can launch in the market. But to sustain and make this to a 100, 200, 300 crore business, you need to have a very strong multi-channel retail. So you should have a distribution strategy to sell on brick and mortar stores. I've seen a lot of successful brands across, especially in India. See, Nika is, for example, Nika is the first brand. Today, their biggest revenue comes from their brick and mortar stores, Nika beauty stores. So they have close to 300 stores, 300 plus stores, and they're doing pretty well. And they are optimizing their supply chain through their stores. So their stores not only work as a shopping center, also brand visibility, also work as a dog warehouse to fulfill the orders for the customers. And even all the new age brands like Domino's or Bliss Club, and even if you see Snitch, I'm sure you see the latest trend. He's been opening stores. In fact, we got funding for opening stores. That's a way to scale and sustain the business. So both will coexist. The ratio of offline and online, depending on how the brand is originated. While with my experience, brands who have started offline will see significantly lesser online revenue. Similarly, brands start with pure play or e-commerce, they might have a significantly lesser offline business, but slowly when it actually matures, they may have equal amount of share.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, a lot of these brands who are already now moving, yeah, you right, mentioned a few of them. So, and how can the effective integration really happen between e-commerce platforms and physical stores for its seamless customer experience?
See, we should have a very clear data management process. So basically, if you wanted to get into a multi-channel retail environment, you should have a robust systems in place which can have a common data warehouse. So now we have a lot of tools available in the market. We have a lot of omni-channel play. We can handle point of sale as well as e-commerce customer data so that there is seamless integration of data happening. And also a lot of CRM tools kind of helps you to bring you the customer aspect in one single view. That is very, very critical for to run a multi-channel retail. Because if you don't understand what is selling in your store, what is selling in e-commerce and try to make them two silos, sometimes you may lose out on opportunities on one, but that opportunity can be fulfilled by the availability from the other channel. So you should have a detailed omni-channel strategy, which have a very seamless integration of your data from your point of sale, customer, inventory. That is very, very critical.
Okay, one question that comes to mind as you were saying this, what are the each obviously while there are two channels and they have to integrate and they have to obviously operate as a very complementing each other.
Right.
What are the challenges for say specifically e-commerce and specific for brick and mortar stores?
See, there are two aspects to it. One is the product life cycle and customer life cycle. See, when it comes to product life cycle, e-commerce is very fast. See, customer want to buy a product, they want to buy a product. 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 See, when it comes to product life cycle, e-commerce is very fast. See, customer want to buy a product, they want to buy a product. They want to buy a product. See, customer want to see what is latest in trend. While and the challenge in product in e-commerce is you will not be able to show every product in a single go. So if I'm having a 1,000 square foot store, if you walk in, just by within 30-60 seconds, you'll be able to see what kind of product they are offering. Within the same level, you will not be able to showcase the entire product to the customer in e-commerce. So we need to make them engaging to go through multiple pages to understand what you are offering. So to make customer understand what kind of product you're making, e-commerce has to do multiple level of advertising, multiple level of engagement through influencer or through various ads to keep popping them, telling them we have this, we have this. But from a supply chain point of view, e-commerce and brick and mortar kind of works very similar. If to run a e-commerce business, say if I need 150 options in a site, the same 150 option, we can fill a store and I can have a same kind of customer experience. The only biggest challenge in terms of product visibility. So e-commerce, you have to work. So to bring in visibility, what e-commerce brands typically spend more on content team. So they have to keep writing about every single option, this option, how to be styled, how it can be popped up. Because your customer coming to the store, maybe 30 seconds, maximum 1 minute they are there, unless they're just coming browsing. At the same time, the customer walk into the store, they will spend at least 3-4 minutes, just go around, say, they'll go by 3 minutes is a offline browsing time, while it's less than a minute in e-commerce. So you have to put a lot of effort in content in e-commerce, while the effort is fairly lesser in offline store. We just open the store, want to ensure you have VM team to ensure the stores are well maintained, neatly, whatever communication are neatly placed. These are the aspect in terms of product. Now, when it come to selling, simpler in both the format. Once you make customer understand your product, they started liking the product, then they buying the purchase is very easy. One major challenge here in especially for fashion e-commerce is the trial, especially when it comes to women's wear. So we have to be very clear in terms of what kind of size communication so that we don't get too much of returns. While we don't really measure in brick and mortar stores is a lot of customers take the product to the trial room and they try, after they may not buy it. That is not considered as a non-buying because of fit or issue. So now there are technologies in place, even for brands started tracking those by leveraging RFID technology, even for customer, they're taking how many customers are taking to a trial room, how much is getting converted as a final bill. If it is not billed, you need to understand if similar any issues there in the product. Same way, what e-commerce players are doing is they are checking based on return. What is the return rate? Look at 30% return rate is a pretty high cost. That's an industry average in fashion.
True.
That's mainly because of this trial. People want to try first, and where the basic essential products, the return rates are much lower. Less than 10% is because you buy one product your size, you just buy it, and also have flexibility in terms of stretches there. You may, if it is 1 or 2 centimeters here and there, that kind of navigates. So conversion and product awareness these are two major issue both channel have. It is little larger aspect to work in e-commerce. It is fairly lesser in brick and mortar stores. So the e-commerce brands, by opening a offline store, also kind of reduces this return percentage, because you can shop online, return online, or you can reserve the product, come to the store and then buy. So this kind of facilities help the brand to optimize, save cost on their return logistics.
30% is pretty high. That is 30% return. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard conversions for e-commerce is less than 1% or 1.5%, or just about 1%.
Yeah, exactly.
And then obviously offline, of course, we used to be very happy with 25-26% conversion.
Correct. So if you see the 26% in e-commerce, it's like a magic. Some players do in FMCG and all, they talk about 15-16% conversion. Fashion, anything above 1.5 is considered as a great conversion. Everybody's around 1.2.
So two questions I have for this. One is, and you raise the very critical issue in offline especially, is that I take 5 garments to the trial room.
Yeah.
I may just come out with one, or nothing at all. What can you do to increase that conversion 1%? What can be done there basically for e-commerce? And similarly, the parallel question here is, what can be done here to say, suppose somebody takes 5 garments, how can that 1 garment be increased to 3? Right? So what is it that can be done?
See, it's all of sustainability and how consistently brand is delivering. If you look at the conversion rate for a well-established brand, Uniqlo versus Zara, if you see the brand position, so Uniqlo is best of basics. They have fashion, which are well matured fashion. So if you are a individual customer, typically their items are always empty because they know what you want to buy. But they also sell as good as volume value wise because they are very slow fashion, very high on quality standard. But at the same time, when you go to Zara, it's very fast fashion. So you need to try every single garment to see, understand your fit. So that is their strategy. So from an offline point of view, how a brand can optimize their try to build conversion is primarily based on their strategies they operate on. If I'm a fast fashion, they have to work on giving them freshness every week, every 45 days, so that they customers are keep coming back. While the try to convert will be lower, but there will be lot more footfall, lot more new customer, more engaging business. While it is a slow fashion where the brands focus on high quality, there the try to convert will be a lot higher. It could be they may try one single shirt, they'll just go and buy 5 shirts together. That's how it happens in the offline. But when it comes to increasing the conversion for e-commerce, same player, it's very similar where customers are intuitive to buy more by giving additional. So if you're a customer, this customer typically buys size 34 shirts, which has stretch, which has this comfort. If you have technology to suggest some similar product, the chance of customer shopping with you is more. If you look at it, Amazon typically have a slightly higher conversion rate.
Right.
Because they understand, they use tech to ensure that they get their customer more engaging by recommending what you likely to buy more. So there the tech and a lot of big e-commerce players uses this very aggressively, but D2, when it comes to D2C, it's a huge investment. Many people really don't use it. So today, some of the players actually become really big by only doing this. Lenskart is one such example. Today, most of the Lenskart customer, they know what to buy. They'll just go and click. They know how to navigate their process. Then every 3 months, 6 months, they keep buying new pair of glasses. The brand who want to focus on the business model has to work on what kind of tools to make the customer more engaging and keep buying more from the business. It's a purely strategy in the every business to understand. So this is the product I'm selling. This is how customers are likely to buy from our website. This is the kind of process that they are following. If we can be more helpful in helping them to make that choice faster, the chance of conversion is a lot higher.
I come to a very slightly controversial question a little later on, but because of you've seen again, I'm coming back to the earlier point where you're across 4 different touch points.
Yeah.
Are you seeing changes in customer behavior happening?
See how typically our exclusive stores and department stores run on a very similar pattern because they are more self-service. So customer, they walk to the store, they know what to buy, they'll browse. If they come to buy one or two, if a sales staff is very good, if you can talk to them and negotiate, talk to them nicely and show them new product, they may buy 2 extra. That's a typical LFS and EBO store. But when it comes to traditional MBO store, they are largely product oriented. There is no brand. So people are value conscious and then product conscious. Their huge business happens for certain kind of categories and certain age group people and certain market. But even at metros, large chunk of business happens in these big MBO retailers. Who are the customers? See, there are a lot of traditional shoppers who've been shopping in that particular format. Today, the biggest category, which is the wedding market for us, India, which is largely covered by this traditional MBO business. So there, it is all huge bills. They buy, lehengas worth lakhs. They buy sarees worth of lakhs. Along with, they also buy other product. But there, it's a family shopping, MBO. So when you go to any MBO, you will see minimum 5 people, 6 people coming to shop. Wherein department store and EBO, it is largely the youngsters, individuals, mostly 1 or 2 people, not really big family shop there. And e-commerce is very personal, so you don't need to, e-commerce shopping is completely individual. If you look at from a behavior point of view, e-commerce is single person shopping. Exclusive store and department stores, mostly 1 or 2 people. MBOs is where the family shopping. And the taste. So if you're a young kid, you're going with your parent. If your parents are very conservative, then you will be forced to buy conservative stuff. The same kid, when he coming alone to shop in the mall, he'll pick up whatever he likes. That's how the shopping and also the age profile of the stores also moves.
Challenge will be really to see how to really understand this behavior, understand how, and then can ensure that these customers are catered to.
See, India that way, it's a long way to go because I've seen business happening in Tier 3, Tier 4 cities lot higher than some of the Tier 1 cities. So the kind of business customers are there everywhere. We have, I spoke to some time back, rural retail, which is the biggest spender in India, which is hardly very few organized or e-commerce player really target. Because that market is completely ruled by this traditional MBOs. So maybe another 10 years we will reach there, modern retail reach there. So we don't know how it is. It's the same thing even in developed countries also. When you go to suburbs or countrysides, you don't see much. That's when the wholesale Costco's biggest customers are their rural population. They come in truckload and then buy for the entire month, 2 month supplies and go. Similar formats are there in India, but it is very fragmented, very disoriented. There is I was shocked in a retailer in North Karnataka. One single store, 3 lakh rupee, 3 lakh square foot store doing 1,500 crore turnover.
Wow.
He's covering 3 districts. He's a wholesale come retail. It's like a wholesale club. So there is no organization, but it's like a modern day, what do you call, market.
What they call the mandis or the...
But mandi sells correct.
So it becomes an experience for them to actually come and then shop and go back.
So retail is very vast in India.
So for you, for Demos specifically, and I don't want absolute figures, but from percentages, where's the business really coming from?
See, if you look at our share of business, ours is about 30% is EBO, 30% is LFS, and about 25% is MBO distribution channel. So that's our current, and then 15% is e-commerce.
So e-commerce would also include your marketplace and
everything. And e-commerce is largely marketplaces for us because we've not really set up tech team to increase D2C as of now. So it's largely 80% or 15% is marketplace.
And is your D2C efforts intentional that you're not putting your efforts there, or is it something that you will look at?
We consciously go more omni, so we want to focus on expanding EBO footprint. We'll focus on D2C so that we can optimize on spend and cost because we want to be profitable every single channel. So we've tried 6 months to spend more, but what is happening was money is just going in, so you are not able to really take any money out. So where the if you don't do anything, just simple marketing, we were profitable. So that profit is much higher than if you spend 3x of marketing and then return sales is, well, the sale is growing, but the bottom line is not coming. So we kept that.
So the ROI is something that you're not seeing.
Profit because every business to run sustainably, the cash flow is very critical. If you how to manage the cash within the business, then you can manage however complexity in the business. So a lot of times business fails because when cash completely runs out, then they don't have any other option to shut the business. So you have to manage the cash. That's why we said, okay, let's focus on business where...
Makes sense. So the question that I was wanting to ask is, I've been talking to a lot of e-commerce brands, also for the brick-and-mortar. I always get this feeling that people who manage e-commerce brands believe they know retail best. Brick-and-mortar, of course, that's a traditional way. For them, it's a challenge to go into the D2C space or e-commerce and manage that because for them, it's a new animal. So how are these dynamics being managed? And I'm sure you would have also kind of experienced this conversation. So how, and if I may ask you, how can these dynamics be managed?
See, from a business point of view, every entrepreneur need to understand the core of every channel. See, the retail, running your own store versus selling it to a department store and MBO, all three have a different set of nuances. You need to understand what are the merits and demerits of each channel, and accordingly you have to focus. Now, if you look at e-commerce, is fairly simple to start. If you're really tech, you understand basic technology, you understand how the entire web engagement works, then you can start an e-commerce business. But to run a sustainable business, you should also need to know the back-end supply chain process of it. Now, how fast I can bring the merchandise, how efficiently I'll be able to bring in newness, what do I do in case my products are not selling? How do I liquidate it? So because especially fashion has a lot of life cycle issues because you can't keep selling the same product. But again, if you launch as a same basic brand, then you will become slow brand, but you need to spend a lot of money to acquire more customers.
Right.
So there are challenges in each. So each business has to understand the challenges. If I'm opening up a store, I need to understand three major things. You have to look for the best location. You have to write the right store plan. You should have a team to operate the store. You should have a process to run the store, opening the store, closing store, customer service, all other aspect. While running e-commerce stores, you should understand what platform to choose for the interface, what kind of tech team to engage, because what is the investment you have to put in tech team to establish your website, whether you put your own in-house or you outsource it. If you outsource it, how will be sustainable in terms of your support, how long it will take to learn for your team to manage it, and then scale. So every business has its own nuances. So you should always, if a business is running in one single silo, we should hire experts to from other channel. If they wanted to really, you might adapt to a new channel or add new channels. If everybody try to do everything on their own, it will be difficult because everybody has certain set of limited time. When we started our e-commerce business, we hired some expert to set up our website, create entire marketing plan. Then we've had our team to learn and then do the KT and then transition. That's how we've diversified that's how we ventured into our D2C model.
And the reason I wanted to ask you this because I know because you're a very young brand that way, and in what is 7, 8 years, you kind of really scale the brand becoming also very popular, right? Obviously, everything now boils down to technology.
Right.
So, what are the innovations that you're seeing that will really impact retail as we go along?
See, a lot of technology is imbibing the offline online experience together. So one is from a product aspect. It's by and large, how do we seamlessly understand what is selling in my store versus my website? What is the rate of sale in across channel? Where it is selling more? How do we sell it more? That is well established some time back. But what was really lacking was the bringing the customer side of it. Where is your customer shopping your product from? Is he shopping from your website? You're shopping from your brand, your store, or is it shopping from any other marketplace? So that interface of multi-channel retail is where the tech is currently working on with the help of AI and few new tools in the market. Getting the insight on customer behavior will help the brands to focus on improving their offerings or service level. But a lot more happening in front, even in offline space where AI is being deployed, face recognition to understand how many customers are walking in, how many are actually buying, how many are actually converting. Similarly, how do we seamlessly integrate pricing? If I'm running offer in website, how can I same time reflect the same price in my point of sale? That is more from an operation point of view, more from a customer engagement optimized today. Even if you look at CRM is fairly evolved between multi-channels to understand where target audience. You don't spend money just by sending blank SMS or blank WhatsApp. There's a message, okay, he's my top customer. He buys this kind of product whenever launch a new product. You send a similar line product, you send the communication on email or WhatsApp. So that's one. And second thing is on the supply chain backend integration, a lot more is happening. How do we make it faster? Reduce the business working capital by ensuring the business runs in a very frugal manner. We're backward integrated with the supplier. You keep the fabric. I'll give you order based on my demand. If I'm selling shirt more, I'll give you more shirts, t-shirts more. So while there are plenty of technology available, bringing it all together with the different stakeholders and bringing in one unified way of working is where a lot of business find it challenging. And in Indian context, what I see is while there are technology available, still the adaptation to new tech, fairly we are very behind. So, and we are also very strong, large human economy. So we have a lot of man to do work. Even the technology is there, we feel instead of spending X year, I put two people here and get things done. That's a mindset a lot of Indian businesses still have. I'm sure over a period of time when the generation evolves with more and more understanding of technology, things will shape up. And also a lot of new technology is still in the learning phase. Nothing is matured really except the ERPs, the core systems. The other add-on systems are not yet fully matured. Everybody is in the learning stage. That's what I would say in terms of tech landscape in India.
Which is very surprising because I thought the learning would be quicker, given that today there's a very marked phase. There's a pre-COVID and there's a post-COVID. And at least from a brick and mortar perspective, I thought that learning would be quicker.
See, that's what we see. That while it's a very candid opinion, while people come and talk with a lot of tech, but when you go to the core of their business operation, they still work with the legacy systems. So, because what I see, because since I also do a lot of consulting with, I also engage with a lot of businesses, the biggest challenge is the well-established business have a legacy of 30, 40 years of old way of doing things. So there, we have to break the way they do to bring in a new technology. And new technology always comes at the cost. The same time, when I'm looking at a new business which are growing, which are tech-driven, can be tech-driven, but there, if you want to bring in any new tech, it's a high cost. Say the investment is very high. So the business owners has to take a decision: should I invest on the stick or should I invest this money in scaling up my business? So that's a real which we are currently facing. Of course, there's a lot more happened in terms of supply chain. There's a lot of improvement in supply chain side. If should now most of the warehouses fully automated with completely come out of a traditional manual picking method. Supply chain is complete, even the transport logistic management that is really evolved. But from other aspect, from in terms of demand forecasting, or if you look at inventory planning, optimization, engaging more advanced customer relationship management, CRM, how do we optimize multi-channel data, unified data warehouse, and then AI usage in understanding the customer and product. There's still miles to go.
You said you're doing something in consulting. What do you consult with brands about? Because in addition to scaling demos as a brand,
Having spent 25 years in retail, I learned that data management and inventory optimization is a key in retail business. The biggest challenge which I faced when I started my business was this: how do we manage multi-channel data? I don't want to depend on Excel, or I want to depend on some MIC guys to give me some number. That's when I met with one of my that's my other venture, is Reor Consulting, where we created a software product which can unify the entire business process in one single application. So you have all your sales stock information, your product performance, and then bring in a unified data visibility for the business. So this is what we do with that consulting. So we help brands who have multi-channel or multi-retail environment to bring all their data in one single warehouse and give them a insight, and also take certain decision on own through machine learning and AI modules. So if you're running a retail store of 100, 200, system will automatically tell you what stock to send to which location, how much to buy for a season, when to buy. All this will be done through the automation of this entire. While this process is fairly at advanced stage in the Western US, but India is still catching up. So, and there are products available from US is very expensive. We thought we'll create something from India so that it can be priced fairly competitive.
interesting.
It's more of inventory optimization and cash flow management solution.
And how easy is it to engage with both the D2C brands and the offline retailers with this? How open are they to accept this?
Of late, post this AI ML knowledge, now people are understanding how tech can solve sort of their manual work. So now we've seen significant calls coming from offline retailers, because the inventory management is complex when it comes to multi-channel, multi-store retail environment. If you have 50, 60, 100 stores managing inventory between stores, because India, as I said earlier, is not a country. No, we are a continent. Every single state, within every single district has a different buying behavior, different demand. It is humanly impossible to track every single product performance at a store level. So they understand, because that's the reason why we see a lot of brands going on very high discounts. Suddenly stock is not there. So we're trying to solve that problem through automating this process. System can compute much faster than men when it comes to certain mathematical calculations. That's we are trying to solve. We see a lot of traction in offline business. And we also designed this more from an offline perspective, more offline multi-channel point of view, because D2C already have a inbuilt I'll get data visibility, what is happening, what performing. A lot more data is already available when it comes to D2C.
They're obviously more tech because they're digital first anyway.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So in your experience, obviously you're working with brands and you're launching your own brand and also part of your consulting. What suggestions would you like to give retailers who are struggling to balance both offline and online strategies? And I'm keeping it open. It's not very specific to either of these channels, but any suggestions that you have for these brands who are struggling to really manage?
So basically, every business should have a clear strategy on what channel they want to focus for which period. If they are starting offline, they want to get into e-commerce business, they should clearly have a strategy. They should engage experts from this particular domain, work closely with the business to understand the product, understand the supply chain, understand the back-end integration, and put in clear end-to-end process to ensure the new channel which they're launching is successfully launched and managed properly, and then hand it over to the business. Same way for other way around. E-commerce business want to come into offline because there are nitty-gritty of getting the right system in terms of finding location, getting into the right contract with the landlord, ensuring we have the marketing in place for the store launch. So everything has a different aspect to it. So both, if the businesses want to clearly strategize, allocate certain resources, allocate certain budget to ensure that that particular project is run successfully. That's how every business model works. If you don't have a proper planning in place and try to get into it, we may miss out on certain areas. Then finally, we don't know where we went wrong. So first thing is to have a clear plan, engage experts to ensure that particular channel is well optimized across all resources and processes. That's what I would strongly recommend.
And since you're there, you're doing a bit of you're doing both. You're running your own brand, you're running your own retail format, and you're also working with other retailers with this thing. What do you think from your perspective is the future of retail?
Retail is the largest business. This is the first business in the world. Retail has been there for thousands of years. It'll continue to be there, but the channel of retail will keep evolving. So because we have to eat, we have to wear clothes, we have to travel, we have to live in a nice house. So everything is part of retail. So retail will never go out of business, but the customer may come from different perspective. See, as a business, if you look at the biggest business across the world is retail. So if you look at the number one business in the US is Walmart, Tesco. In India today, biggest business is now Reliance. They're in retail. So retail will be there. Retail will be the leading forefront of country's economy and GDP. So this is the business to be there. But it's with us how we manage it, how we effectively understand the business. So I would wind up with three things I always recommend. You have to focus on your product, you should focus on your people and process. These three is very strong. While there are 5 P's, by these 3 P's, I really focus. If you focus on these three, people, product, and process.
People also, customers also would come into people because I remember 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11 when Flipkart and all came in.
Yeah.
There was a huge article, headline on Economic Times. It said that will e-commerce eat, destroy brick and mortar business production. Thank you so much, Agnes, for spending a Saturday afternoon.
Nice talking to you.
A great conversation and really good insights. I'm sure somebody who's listening to this can today confidently at least try and think how to launch a brand. Yeah. So thanks once again, Agnes. Nice to have you here.
So much. Thanks for having me in. Have a
Thank
great
you. Bye.